First day back in Terre Haute. It's freezing, but I love seeing clients. It was so nice to see mine today. I'm working with two women right now. Beautiful, bright lights, full of kindness and infinite potential and love, like every other being we're able to really connect with. I think that's why I like therapy, is it's this interpersonal context where it's acceptable in society, I guess, to let your guard down, to deconstruct these walls, these barriers we put up to defend ourselves from pain and from feeling, right? As a means to desensitize ourselves and protect ourselves from other people and from the outside world. So therapy is this context where it's safe, it's okay to do that, to let one's guard down. And as a therapist, I'm in charge of actually facilitating that and calling it out as I see it, as I see a client who has put up her walls for whatever reason, and actively, together, collaboratively, we can work to brick by brick pull that wall, deconstruct that wall, explore where it came from, and seek to, minimize it, at least in the context of our relationship, so some healing work can actually happen. But it's funny, the two clients I'm working with, it's not funny. It's funny. Comedy is tragedy. All things that are funny are really tragic as well, and vice versa, right? You can laugh at something that's totally disturbing, somehow finding humor in that. Anyway, it is that both of my clients are in relationships that they perceive to be very negative, very unhealthy, very unfulfilling. One is in a marriage, and the other is actually seeing a man who is married to someone else. And, these women, I see these two strong, bright, beautiful women, and who just don't love themselves. They don't love themselves enough to walk away from these relationships that aren't serving them. I've worked with both women for many months now, and their respective relationships, we've been able to identify as the number one source of their pain, their stress, their sadness, their anger, their anguish, their fatigue, their absolute emotional exhaustion, and yet they persist, they continue on. And I guess I'm just seeing that in myself, like that's kind of a metaphor for grad school for me, right? It's something that I've been with the last year and a half, and it's the number one source of my pain, my distress, and yet I keep doing it. I keep coming back every day because I'm kind of stuck in this cycle, and I feel trapped by this reality I've created myself, all these decisions I've made. But it's funny, today, being back in the clinic and everything, and being back around some of the people in my program, I felt this sense of openness, this sense of presence within myself that I think has previously been there to some degree, but really just strong. Just vibrating that presence and that openness, and I felt so on with my clients, so present, so open, and fearless, right? Ready, sometimes when I have these I don't know what to call them, sensations, messages, perceptions, feelings, gut feelings coming up from my gut, from my intuition, from this center of my being. Sometimes there's some fear about what to do with it and how to use it and how to communicate it, whether or not to communicate it. And, there's this sense of evaluation and judgment and is what my gut is saying right, and how do I actually act on it. Today, I was in the flow. I was just I was so in touch with what was happening in the room emotionally, energetically, and what was occurring within myself as I was receiving and just kind of existing as an open container for this other person to kind of pour into. And whatever was coming through my gut, whatever energy I was picking up on, feelings, whatever, I would just channel out. I would just make the covert overt, as we say in therapy. I would just let it out, however, it came out, however it needed to come out. Being very mindful in my word choice and everything, as I am naturally, right? I'm kind of a slow-paced talker. Maybe that's the southernness in me, but being very mindful and being very gentle, and it was just awesome. It felt awesome to just be so present and so connected and so open to this other infinite being in the room whose presence I had the wonderful experience of basking in and sharing that space. So it was beautiful. But I was also really, really pleased to see and reconnect with a couple of the people in my program. My supervisor is amazing. She's a great woman. She's so warm, and her warmth is I so deeply appreciate it in that program when sometimes I do feel so isolated, so alone, so kind of sequestered and placeless. I find that I do belong whenever I have the opportunity to hug her or talk to her one-on-one. So it was really great to see her. And also another woman who is a friend of mine I got to connect with today and really just resonate and feel that, in my relationships with both of them, it really is a very nice, open, honest, connected relationship where I don't feel that I'm putting any walls up, and I don't feel that they are either. There's just an open-heartedness, this quality of openness between us that I really, really relish, and it makes going into the clinic and connecting with those women. That makes the whole experience, the whole day, that lifts me up. So that was really beautiful. On the flip side, I did notice that, there were some people I interacted with today that are very closed off, and I felt like had walls up around me. I don't know if they have it up around everyone or not, but I did perceive and sense some walls up, and that was just cool to be mindful of and to take into consideration. But yeah, it was a beautiful day, and I'm ready to prepare a nice little dinner for myself right now. I had frozen banana and ice cream this morning, which I know sounds like madness, but I really wanted it, so I had it, and I was freezing, and I still haven't warmed up. My hands are still numb. It's kind of a state of being now, the numbness. But my heart is open and very much sensitized, so hopefully my fingers one day will match the openness and circulatory capacities of the rest of my body. Anyways, have a good evening. Much love and peace and eternal bliss. I hope you are able to connect with your center of self-love.